Sonic Adventure is a pretty awesome game if you ask me. I've made 2 videos already talking about this game and one talking about its sequel, as well as referencing it in many other videos. But I wanted to make a bit more of a focused video about something way more important than the creation story. Hell, way more important than the game itself. Hell, maybe even more important than video games as a whole medium. This single piece of history is more important than me or any of you watching. Of course, I'm talking about the Sonic Adventure homepage, more commonly known as the Sonic Adventure website. Accessible through the Dreamcast itself, or if you're a nerd like me, a computer, the website was used to display cool stuff like leaderboards and events. Now, you may be wondering about why this website is still up, seeing as this game is from 1998, and Sega is pretty terrible at actually preserving things. I mean, look at the Tokyo Toy Show fiasco. Well, technically it isn't. Once again, Sonic fans have restored something Sega would never even dream of rebuilding. According to this Dreamcast junkyard post, it was purchased and eventually rebuilt by this guy named Scott, who the more I did research into, I found out is an absolute legend. He also runs Chow Island, a huge resource for Chow, the little virtual pets in the adventure games as well as the advanced games. His work with rebuilding the Sonic Adventure website isn't super well documented, so unfortunately I can't go far into it. But I do want to talk about the site itself. When logging on to sonic-adventure.com, you're met with this wonderful screen that lets you pick between the Sonic Adventure homepage and Mail. Mail does nothing, but I'm assuming that on the actual system it would have maybe taken you to the Dreamcast mail service back in the day, kind of like the web browser disk does, though I'm probably wrong on that. When you click Sonic Adventure homepage, you are met with just that. Greeting us at the homepage is the paragraph about the winners for the World Rankings contest. Someone named Josh Feinberg apparently won this contest relating to time trials in the game. I wanted to do a little more digging on this, so I ended up going through the update archives on the website. Looking at this update from July 17, 2000 leads us to the World Rankings subpage on the Community tab of the website. On the World Rankings tab, we are greeted with this announcement from the Sonic team, which reads, "Recently, it has been discovered that a non-standard controller sold in some parts of the world allows players to move slightly faster than those using standard Dreamcast controllers. This is due to different analog output values in the non-standard controller. In order to keep the World Rankings fair for all contestants worldwide, we ask that all participants only use the standard Dreamcast controller in all future competitions. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause." What controller they're referring to isn't stated, so I did some digging. I first asked in the official Adam Koralik Discord and got no reply, so I instead went to the Dreamcast talk server, and of all people, the one and only PKR responded. Now, if none of you know who PKR is, then please, for the love of God, click off this video and go look him up. I don't care if you're being held hostage or held at gunpoint to watch this video, find a way to look up this person because he is a goddamn legend. Anyways, he explained that the original Dreamcast controller, as the original website update said, outputted lower analog values than third-party controllers. Sonic Adventure doesn't account for this, so you're able to move at insane speeds. This can actually be recreated in some emulators as well with a keyboard. Now, you might be asking, why does SA1 do this? Well, there's not really any good official reasons I can find online. But here's my theory. I found this Reddit thread from January 31st, 2020, posted by a user named NOSB. I know, always a great start when I got my research from a Reddit thread from over 4 years ago. But hear me out. It details this controller called the Top Max Shocker, which appears to be from PAL Regions, which uses a different type of analog stick than the traditional Dreamcast stick, called a potentiometer stick. The Dreamcast analog stick uses 4 sensors called Hall effect sensors. Hall effect sensors output voltage based on the proximity of a magnet to the sensor, which is measured using an electromagnetic field generated by each sensor. This basically means that there's no friction between parts of the joystick, leading to less wear and tear over time, at least from what I understand. In fact, many modern controllers go for this design instead of using potentiometer joysticks so their controllers can be more premium, even though Sega was doing this in 1998. The thing is, it would appear that due to these controllers using potentiometers, they output higher analog values for whatever reason. Obviously, since the Dreamcast wasn't made with third-party controllers in mind, and only made with Sega's first-party controllers in mind, Sonic Adventure did not add hardcode limits on this, thus making it so you can use third-party controllers to, you could say, go fast. So, Sega put up this post on the website to deter people from using these controllers. Going all the way back to September 9th, 1999, the launch date of the Dreamcast in North America, there's this kind-hearted update which reads, Launch Day. Sonic Team personally thanks you for logging on to the Sonic Adventure homepage. We hope you have a great time here, and we'll be adding to this website all the time with new stuff. Speaking of new stuff, we have a present for you. In celebration of the Dreamcast launch, we have a special event download that you can grab. It's under Community Events. Directly under this it reads, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say everyone is excited about Dreamcast. When you go to that community events thing listed, I believe on the original Dreamcast launch date, it would have shown you a download of this. However, I couldn't find it. I'm sorry, I know, but stuff like this can be exceedingly rare. At least on this website. Yes, the absolutely incredible folks over at DreamcastLive.net have backed up what appears to be every last ounce of Sonic Adventure DLC from the 90s, including, but not limited to, all 3 AT&T events, yes, those are real, the holiday events from all regions, and yes, the launch party events. I'll add the link to this in the description, which, yeah, did you know Sonic Adventure had DLC in 1998? It's wild. Basically, the Dreamcast was one of the first consoles to support online, and the first to support it out of the box with no external features, unlike the Saturn, which required the netlink. The Dreamcast had a 56K modem built into the system, which meant as long as you had a phone line, you could get every last one of those 56 kilobits of early multiplayer goodness in games like Quake 3 Arena, Choo Choo Rocket, and Phantasy Star Online. But another thing it was used for, arguably more notably, was DLC. The Dreamcast was the first video game console to support DLC for games you already own. Yes, the Atari 2600 had the Game Line service and the Mega Drive had the Sega Channel, but both of those were for either downloading full games or demos of games. The Dreamcast, at one point in time, actually let you download a piece of software to modify another piece of software which was not modified before. The static media of video games could now be changed by the internet, which had to have been pretty wild in 99 or 98 in Japan's case. There are also some pretty cool mods which bring back the DLC, but I'm not entirely sure how they work, and I haven't really taken the time to research them either. There's some other pretty cool DLC here too, including the Halloween event, the Hidekazu Yukawa Quo event, you may remember him from my Majora Dreamcast video a couple years back, or the Cybershell Rarest Dreamcast video if you've seen that, the Reebok Challenge, which was sponsored by Reebok to promote shoes? The 90s were a weird time. That one was unfortunately PAL exclusive, so no Reebok Sonic Adventure for us Americans. The one still preserved on the Sonic Adventure website is the Y2K event course, which appears to be just that, an event based on the turn of the millennium. The events page states, here it is folks, the dreaded Y2K. Okay, so it's not really the millennium. Truth is, the millennium doesn't begin until the year 2001. However, to usher in the 3 zeros, Sonic Team presents the Millennium Event download. Enjoy. And then drop the bomb that this DLC is a whopping 62 blocks, which means I'll have to delete all my various Chicken Run saves off my VMU. Most of these update archives are pretty lame, just detailing things about the various time trial contests happening. Which, yeah, another wild thing, this game had contests. I just kind of mentioned it in passing earlier, but there were officially Sega-sanctioned tournaments which were accessible through the Sonic Adventure webpage from what it seems. That's pretty damn cool. Even cooler, though, is the chat functionality on the website. No clue how this worked back in the day or if anybody really used it, but it appears that the Sonic Adventure websites had dedicated chat rooms specifically for the game, as well as chat. It also mentions that for international users, you should use the boards function instead of the chat one. However, going back and clicking this just takes us to the dreaded dnserrorassist.att.net page, or essentially f404.n. Ever get stuck in Sonic Adventure and want some guidance, but your family has no money because your pet hamster needed surgery after you accidentally swallowed an entire clothespin, which was attached to a bag of Lay's barbecue potato chips, and you tried to save him, but the surgery didn't work and the hamster died? So you had to go to a funeral home to have a custom miniature scale casket for the hamster made, which cost $8,000 to produce, and then you took the hamster and put him in the casket and lower him into the ground. But then you realize that you need a tombstone, so you go to a stonecutter named Eric to have a custom miniature scale tombstone made, which reads hamster died of clothespin on it, which costs another $8,000. But you also need a strategy guide for this new video game you got for your Sega Dreamcast called Sonic Adventure. But since your family is now $24,000 in debt, you can't afford one. And now you only wish that you could view hints and tips on the internet? Well, thank God, because SonicAdventure.com has you covered. Every single story, too. There's even maps for each different adventure field. Station Square, the Mystic Ruins, hell, even both formations of the Egg Carrier are here. There's a page called Sonic for Beginners, which has these glorious little MS Paint drawings of Sonic, which honestly aren't terrible for being from 1999 and probably done with a ball mouse by some underpaid Sega worker in Windows 98. When going back to the updates page, you'll notice something is different. Instead of showing the Josh Feinberg leaderboard scores, you see something which reads, Final Update. Season greetings from the Sonic team. We wanted to thank you all for participating in our World Rankings contest, and to let you know that the World Rankings contest is now officially closed. We will be reopening all of the previous World Ranking stages for you to play, for fun. Now we will process the remaining fulfillment of prizes and tally up the results for our grand prize winners. Your patience and support have been greatly appreciated. From the bottom of our hearts, we wanted to thank you for all of your support and love. The Sonic team wishes everybody a very safe and happy holidays. Take care, and we'll see you again real soon. Another little experiment is bringing back the Sonic Adventure 2 website. This has some pretty interesting stuff too on it, a bit similar to the Sonic Adventure web website. If you'd like to see a video on this, let me know down in the comments. In conclusion, Sonic Adventure's website is weird. It's dated, it's strange, and obsolete. But I love it. It's so incredibly wacky and cool compared to most other game websites around this time, which were exclusively hint-oriented. Another reason why Sonic Adventure is the best game of all time, and I am not at all contradicting myself by listing it as the best game of all time. What, it's not like I made an entire video about why there's no best game of all time that you should definitely go watch right now that doesn't exist. And you definitely can't go click that little lowercase I up in the top right corner of this video to go watch it. That would be absurd.